And good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for giving up some of your time today for a quick demonstration of the Found You platform. Now, as mentioned, I'll be running through the platform today. It is quite an extensive platform, so I will do my best to cover as much as I can within the 25 minutes available, but please feel free to reach out if you did require any deeper dive into the functionality of the actual system itself, and we'd be more than happy to facilitate that in the future via another webinar. What I'm going to do is to start with our employee journey, and that is getting themselves completely onboarded, providing all their relevant information that they need to supply to the employer in order to be eligible for employment. So as you can see here, we're beginning on the initial registration page of the platform. Now, before I go any further, this is completely white labeled to suit your exact business with your relevant logos and pictures in place to look and feel as though it is your business's platform. As you can see here, we've got a basic registration page, and this is where we start off the actual process of getting them registered onto a user of the platform itself. Once they complete these basic details, they then progress on to the first step of the onboarding journey. Now, this journey itself is completely customizable and configurable to suit your exact requirements as a business. And what we do is essentially during our implementation process is digitize your existing onboarding processes as much as possible. What I'll do is I'll just give you a very quick run through of a generic onboarding journey that we've got in this demonstration platform to give you an idea of what kind of information that we can start collecting from those employees. As you can see, step one's usually consistent of fairly generic information, including things like profile pictures, date of birth, address, photo ID, etc., all the way through to resumes, cover letters, reference details, and down the bottom here, something to note is our Australian Works Rights check. So the Found You platform has a direct integration straight through to Vivo, which allows us to check the validity of visas in real time. When we do those checks on visas, what we also do is throw that particular visa into a bucket, and the system will actually check that bucket of visas every 2 weeks to ensure that they are still valid. If any details have changed, then we send automated notifications to both the employer and the employee, notifying them of such change. Once they finish the first step, they can then progress on to the second step. And this is typically where we find a lot of businesses having a fairly generic workplace health and safety questionnaire that you can start asking those employees to fill out during this journey. We're capturing all the relevant answers that they're providing, whether they're right or wrong, for your review at a later date. Once they've finished this step, they can then progress on to step 3. Now, this is where we find qualifications and licenses and certificates being uploaded. Another great thing about this is that it's completely mobile responsive. So if they do have those qualifications at home, they can simply take a photo of them when they're uploading them to their profile. Great thing about the licenses is that we'll actually make sure that these are date driven as well. So we can attach expiry dates to the licenses that are being uploaded, which then allows you to make sure that those licenses are valid at any point in time. We also have the ability to build out tag libraries within the onboarding section of the platform, which is just another way of having employees assign additional attributes to their profile that you can then utilize in searching at a later date. We've also found this page to be quite common to have policies and procedures uploaded where all the employees can actually review said policies and procedures and agree to those and sign off on them down the bottom. The next step is the financial information. Now, because we are a payroll system and STP compliant, obviously all this information is integral to process someone's payroll. What we'll also do is try to validate as much information that's being inputted into the system as we possibly can throughout this process. So you'll notice that we don't actually accept incorrect details wherever it's possible to validate what's being entered in. Simple things like BSB details are always validated against the relevant bank now. And also when we're actually selecting our superannuation fund, we can make sure that the relevant fund is linked back to the correct USI associated with that fund to streamline the process of paying that superannuation. We then, of course, have the most paper-based form of onboarding you typically find here in Australia, being completely digitised through the tax file number declaration as well. So all of these details are sent straight to the ATO whenever a pay event does occur in the Found You platform. Once they've finished this step, they can then progress on to step 5, and this is a place where you can start collecting medical information about the particular individual. We've got some cool features in place here that allow you to make sure that if they are answering yes to any of these particular questions, that they do have to provide any additional commentary around that particular answer before they can proceed, purely just to make sure that you're capturing all the information you need from your employees as they go through this process.